What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's BMW Championship. If you are watching on YouTube, you'll see that I'm very clearly still in Memphis, so bear with me if the audio sounds just a little bit different or if the stream or anything looks just a little bit different, but should be all good. Awesome week in Memphis. Looking forward to getting to this event. I will not be going to Caves Valley, but looking forward to continuing this playoff run. I'll have a lot more. I'm going to try to put up a vlog from Memphis and post some stuff. It was a really good experience, but the show must go on, and that's what we're doing here. And the BMW Championship, they've been moving this golf tournament all around. We played last at Caves Valley, which is in Maryland, in 2021. Then they went to Wilmington, so that was 2022. Patrick Cantlay won both of those events, and we have not seen it on the PGA Tour prior, and we have not seen Caves Valley on the PGA Tour since. So this is only going to be number 2. That means there is not going to be a course key stats model. There's not a regression model. There's not enough data to regress off of. We're just going to have to look at this and kind of figure out what's going on. I've got the aerial footage up, and the thing about this golf course, if I can control my mouse a little bit, they got to 27 under par here in 2021. There's water in play on a handful of holes. Some of the holes are tree lined-ish. But what it feels like to me when I go through this and I start looking at the landing areas and the pro dispersions and all of that is the water's not in play enough. You'd have to hit a really bad shot to hit it into the water, and you'd have to hit a pretty bad shot to get into some of the holes that are tree lined to have those trees block you out. So when you look at the aerial footage of it, you see that stuff, but I don't really think it's going to be a detriment. Then you get 3 inches of what is essentially fescue rough. Probably going to be a little bit easier to come out of than the 3 inches of Bermuda that they had in Memphis, and that's kind of much more unpredictable into firm greens. I think this is going to be a pretty easy golf course for these guys. We saw that again in 2021. There's not a lot of reason to think anything has changed and that there's going to be anything to stop these guys from kind of shredding this place up. So what are we looking for? We're looking for birdie makers, the best players. We're looking for bombers. If I remember correctly, it was Bryson DeChambeau that lost in a playoff to Patrick Cantlay. If you go back and look at the leaderboard, I think you're going to see a lot of long hitters along the way. So we're just going to continue to ride the hot hand. We've got Rory McIlroy back in the field for this week. We're probably not going to put too much emphasis on those 2021 results. Maybe use it as a tiebreaker. It's only one edition, and it was 4 years ago, so it's not the greatest of information, but just another data point that we can work off of. Here is the cheat sheet at RickRunGood.com, and there are 7 golfers over $10,000. It's a lot. Scotty Scheffler, $13,400. Rory McIlroy, $11,400, so $2,000 difference there. Xander Schauffele's $10,500. Tommy Fleetwood, $10,400. Ludwig, $10,200. We're not done yet. Patrick Cantlay, $10,100. Justin Thomas, $10,000. Start with the man we always start with. His name is Scotty Scheffler. He's the best player in the world. It's not particularly close. There was a really good discussion that Mark Immelman and I had on the Second Cut podcast last night, and I agree with his sentiment. The not having Ted Scott on the bag on Sunday, while Scotty Scheffler will never admit it, did change the flow of his game. And I agree with that. I walked with Scotty probably more than anybody last week. I probably walked 50 of his holes with him. And the difference between having Ted Scott in his bag and his replacement, Brad Payne, who's great dude, but that to me, now Scotty's got to walk things off. Now Scotty's got to get his own numbers. It was definitely a different process that he was going through. Still gained 2.5 strokes on Sunday, falls 1 shot out of the playoff, finishes in a tie for 3rd. I do not know if Ted Scott's going to be back on the bag. It's private family matter. I do not know if Ted is going to be there this week. I have very little concerns about Scotty Scheffler moving forward. I mean, hottest take in the world. He's finished inside the top 8 in every event since the Players' Championship. The other thing that I find interesting is So he was $14,200 last week. I understand that we are now injecting Rory McIlroy into this field, but at the same time, we have chopped 20 players out of this field. So now there's only 50 in 4 guaranteed rounds against essentially the same field, plus Rory McIlroy. And Scotty, even when he's at his worst, is going to pick up 2.5 strokes to the field. His power ranking numbers are menacing. Okay. So over the last 36 rounds, he is gaining 3.5 strokes per round. 3.5. 3.5. When you get to 2, if you get to 2 for like an extended period of time, 100 rounds or something like that, that is what the number 1 player in the world does historically. We're almost at twice that. The gap between Scotty Scheffler and the next best player in the field, who's Ben Griffin over the last 36, is a stroke and a half. Then there is another third of a stroke to Rory McIlroy in third. So Rory is playing half as good as Scotty Scheffler in the last 36 rounds. That's the way to read that. I try every week to come on here and say, like, this is crazy, historically amazing numbers that we have never seen before. And that continues to bear itself out here and now at a cheaper price tag. So you're going to believe, you best believe, Scotty Scheffler is going to be a huge target of mine in fantasy lineups. Rory McIlroy. I always hesitate a little bit to get after Rory in his first start after a little bit of a break. I don't know if the data backs that up or not, but it just feels like, I'll have to look into this, but it does feel like it takes him a start or two to warm up. So we haven't seen him since the Open Championship. That was 3 weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago. Played well there. He's played phenomenal golf. I think this is a really good setup for him. In 2021, what did he do here? Okay, finished 4th. Again, this is a tiebreaker. This is nice to see. I was interested in Rory McIlroy before seeing this 4th place finish at Caves Valley. I think this is a bomber's paradise. And if Ted Scott is not on the bag for Scotty Scheffler and we remove, what's that worth? Is Ted worth half a stroke? I don't know. The $2,000 discount to Rory McIlroy could allow you to make a lot of really great lineups, because the way that I see the rest of this 10K range is it's interesting, but not super appealing. Xander Schauffele's 10,500. I have an incredible amount of season-long investment in Xander Schauffele. I have been waiting for the breakout. I've been waiting for the moment where things come together, and it just hasn't happened. The putter, which is historically great, has let him down a lot in 2025. It's been good, but it has not nearly been the reliant club that we have seen it be in the past. The driver, which at the beginning of the year when he returned from that rib injury, we were talking about how much longer he is, how much straighter he is, he's gaining a stroke per round off the tee. That's starting to fade just a touch. So now we've got this issue of the metrics are not looking as good as we saw earlier in this year. He's priced in a way that you could just spend up and go get Rory McIlroy, or, we're at the point in the year where all these guys are playing pretty darn good golf because you have to be to get here, and it's just less appealing. If you use Caves Valley as a tiebreaker, it was T49 for Xander in 2021. So you're going to see me heavily invested in Rory, heavily invested in Scotty Scheffler. Tommy Fleetwood, I'm going to act like I did not see what happened on Sunday for Tommy. The truth is I saw it all, right? I was walking with that group, dropping back and forth between that final group and the Scotty group. I saw the struggles out of the gate on Sunday. I saw the way the Memphis crowd lifted him up on the 9th hole, trying to will him to victory. I saw the 3 birdies that he made late, and I was standing right at the 16th green when he took relief from the grandstand and chipped it over the green, and that was the beginning of his demise. I talked about this a little bit on the second cut, and this is very much outside my data realm, but you can see tension in Tommy Fleetwood. He does not hide it very well. And as that round went on, I swear to you, shoulders going up and up and up. They're basically in his ears. It looked like just an immense amount of tension. And he got into a couple of, the wrong side of the green on, wrong side of the fairway on 17, where he has to hit a cut, and he likes to draw the ball a little bit more, and he double crosses himself left and then hits a really weak 5-foot putt for par, like maybe one of the worst putts I've ever seen in my life. And that was the nail in the coffin. The good news for Tommy is that he has still been one of the best players in the world in 2025. The bad news for Tommy, statistically, is a couple of things. I do not think this is a particularly great setup for him. She did not play here in 2021. I do not think this is a particularly great setup for him. I think that the things that he does really well, working the ball right to left, some of the more precision shots, some of the more well-roundedness, some of the, like, I don't think that's going to be as rewarded here as TPC Southwind, where you cannot fake it. I think you can kind of fake it around Case Valley, and everybody's going to make a ton of birdies. The other thing to point out is that his two best putting performances of the year have come in his last three starts, the Open Championship and the FedEx St. Jude. So we are likely going to get some level of regression with the putter on a golf course that I do not think is a very good setup for him. That kind of rules out Tommy Fleetwood at 10,400, and it does not even consider the Sunday issues, the choking, that stuff. So probably not going to be able to get to Tommy Fleetwood.
Golf season has kicked off, and there's no better place to sweat the action than DraftKings Daily Fantasy, the ultimate destination for fantasy golf fans. Right now, DraftKings is giving new customers a chance to play free for their share of millions in prizes with their first deposit on the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app. It's simple to play. Build your dream lineup while staying under the salary cap, then sit back and watch as your players rack up points. Every birdie, every bogey, every clutch putt, feel the intensity of every shot. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app and enter promo code RickDFS to play free for your share of millions with your first deposit. That's RickDFS for new DraftKings customers. Just download the Daily Fantasy app today. The crown is yours.
I hate the price increase on Patrick Cantlay to $10,100. He never once sniffed contention at the FedEx St. Jude, but he ended up finishing T9, and the approach numbers were off the charts. Gained 6 strokes on approach, one of his best of the season. So that's really good. Obviously, he won here in 2021. The price increase makes it less exciting, but I think he's a very fair golfer. I'm probably going to match the field with whatever Patrick Cantlay comes up with on the Wednesday live chat, for example. Ludwig Oberg put together a 5-stroke tee to green number last week at the FedEx St. Jude and also finished T9. So now look at his tee to green numbers. After a little bit of a slump here from Harbor Town to the Travelers, those tee to green numbers have really picked up. He's gained, 8, 9, about 15 strokes from tee to green over his last 12 rounds. That's Scottish Open Championship, FedEx St. Jude. He was not even he's probably in college in 2021, right? He wasn't even a professional the last time they went to this golf course, so he doesn't have any history at this course, but there's no secrets out here. There's nothing to hide. I don't think making your debut at a golf course like this is going to be an issue. They're going to have it figured out instantaneously when they get to Maryland, and they're going to be just fine. So the 10K range is probably Scheffler, Rory, Ludwig for me. Honorable mention to Patrick Cantlay, and I'll just try to fade the rest of those guys. The 9K range, however, this is where you start to get into these guys that are playing very, very good golf and have for the last couple of weeks. They cannot be priced as superstars, but you're getting them at a very good price. Cam Young. I think Cam Young might win this golf tournament. 30-1 on this Monday morning. Bomber golf course. He can make a ton of birdies. He's playing well. He still has a lot to play for. There's the big question about what was going to happen after the Wyndham Championship. Oh my gosh, this emotional letdown, da da da. It doesn't matter if you don't have any emotion. You can't have an emotional letdown if you have zero emotion. Wyndham Championship victory, picks up 8.5 strokes from tee to green. Picks up 6 last week at the FedEx St. Jude. 2 things. His Saturday round stunk. Everything outside of Saturday was great. He picked up 5 strokes on Sunday. He lost 3.5 around the green and still finished 5th. I saw a guy who looked very confident. He's hitting that draw again, which is what his golf swing wants to do. He's got that very, not predominant, but very, very strong, pronounced is the word I'm looking for. Pause at the top with that wrist hit. He wants to hit a draw. And now that he's leaning into it, his golf swing wants to hit a draw. I don't think he always wanted to hit a draw. And now that his golf swing is leaning into that, it is so good. So I love the way Cam Young sets up for this place. Just I'll step on the rake again if I need to. If you look at the power rankings, last 36, I bet he's pretty far up there. He is ninth in total strokes gained, 1.52, right behind Kurt Kitayama, right ahead of JJ Spawn. Others in this range. Russell Henley is interesting from the standpoint that he can there are good golf courses for Russell, but he can also find ways to play well at golf courses that should not fit him. So just this recent run, so just his last 5 events are all 17th or better. There's 4 top 10 finishes in there, and they run the gamut. Muirfield Village, Oakmont, TPC River Highlands, Royal Portrush, TPC Southwind. We've got all regions of the globe. We've got narrow and thick rough. We've got links golf. We've got the shortest golf course on tour. It just doesn't matter that much anymore for Russell Henley. And I think that is a skill set that he has developed over the course of the last couple of years. He used to just be this guy that you'd kind of have to play a little bit of course history with or a little bit of course fit with. I think we are well past that. And I think that I think people are going to like to play Cam Young. I think people are going to maybe go back to JJ Spawn at $9,400, and that's fine if you want to play JJ's having an awesome year. But Russell Henley sitting there at $9,700 feels really interesting in a moment like this. The rest of this range here, remember, you got to be a little bit careful with tournament history because they've moved this all around. So Viktor Hovland has won the BMW Championship. Viktor Hovland, I had a lot of exposure to last week. Was miserable in the first round. He lost 5 strokes to field, much better over the course of the week. So let me see if I do this. Everybody in this field from last week in rounds 2, 3, and 4. So after the first round, yeah, Viktor gained 5.5 strokes, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th best score that anybody put together over the last 54. So he played himself out of it on Thursday, grinds it back over the course of the week. Stats get much better, scores get much better, and he finishes in a tie for 32nd. Ben Griffin, $9,100, will be on the Ryder Cup team, is a top 10, top 20 machine, finished 9th last week, and he did it in what is vintage Ben Griffin fashion. I actually think this is a better setup for him. I think he can cut the driver loose a little bit more around TPC Southwind, around Caves Valley, which he could not necessarily do around TPC Southwind with some of the water and issues lurking off the tee. I actually think this is a better place for Ben Griffin. So Viktor probably gets a little bit of a downgrade. I would like it to be. I thought Southwind was a really good spot for Viktor, and over the final 3 rounds it was. But I think this is actually an improved position for Ben Griffin going to Caves Valley. And if you look at strokes gained trend, which is a golfer's 100 round baseline, and what I have set up right now, which is the last 36 rounds from everybody in this field, Scotty's obviously number 1, doesn't matter, still beating his own baseline. Ben Griffin is number 2. His strokes gained trend is like 2 strokes per round. So that's 100 round baseline plus whatever he's doing in the last 36, boom, boom, boom. And you get the 2 strokes per round. It is between Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. It's no joke. It's really, really no joke. And even when it feels like, it never really felt like Ben Griffin was in contention last week. And that was the feeling from the ground. And I don't think he ever had a chance to win the golf tournament, but it was still another very good week that he paid off with a reasonable salary. Now he sits there at the bottom of the $9,100 range. He's going to be like a top, I guess it doesn't matter where he starts at the Tour Championship, but he's going to go to the Tour Championship in like the top 5 or 6 of the FedEx Cup standings, probably something like that. It's been an unbelievable year. You cannot really fake that. The 8K range has a couple of really interesting higher risk options. Matt Fitzpatrick and Hideki Matsuyama are the 2 that stand out to me. So Fitzpatrick was pretty good for 3 days last week. His Friday was very bad. I worry a lot about the driver. So he lost 5 strokes off the tee last week. That snapped a streak of 5 consecutive weeks in which he had gained strokes off the tee. So this is multiple water balls, right? This is losing golf balls to lose 5 strokes off the tee. I'm not sure it's going to be possible to lose 5 strokes off the tee at Caves Valley, and if it is, it's complete disaster. I think this I think his play, and also that crushes his tee to green numbers. Not that he was great in all in the ball striking and around the green. He was okay, but that crushes his tee to green numbers. I think that looks a lot worse than it actually was. Hideki, on the other hand, so Hideki, slow start, strong finish. Look at how many strokes he gained on approach. 5.5. 5.5. It's one of the best of the week. Every time I saw him, he was pure flush out there, and another top 20 finish. And I know top 20 finishes now that we're getting into 70 and 50, like that doesn't matter, but consistently beating the field from anywhere from 3 to 8 strokes. We've seen him win some of these birdie fests, right? Didn't he win? What did he win? Century at like a million under par, 32 under par. There's just something in the stats. Like this dude is just brewing. It's really, it's lurking right underneath the surface, and it looks like it's about to come out. Maybe my favorite in this 8K range, and maybe a really good candidate as the best buy, $8,200 Akshay Bhatia. And we covered him a lot last week because he went out and shot a 62 on Thursday and was your 18-hole leader. And a lot of the questions that I got on TV or for PGA Tour Live or whatever were like, how long until he fades? And I was like, I don't really think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's going to win this golf tournament, but I don't think he's going to finish 22nd because his stat profile on Thursday was incredible. He picked up 5 strokes on approach. He made about 1 long putt. He gained a half a stroke putting in a round. They shot 62 at TPC Southwind. That is incredible. And it was not completely reliant on his putter. No, he was not going to hit everything to 2 feet the rest of the week, and he didn't, but still hit it really well for the final 3 days. He was about a 0, picked it up, hit it a lot better on Sunday. The thing that I saw him do definitely in rounds 2, 3, and 4 was just start missing a bunch of fairways and just start like he just didn't drive it. He hits it long, didn't drive it straight, and that's what Akshay does. The problem at Southwind is, Tommy ran into this problem, Rosie ran into this problem a couple times late, Scotty ran into this problem on 15 on Sunday. Like those trees are on top of you, so you can hit a tree off the tee and have it drop straight down, and that's what happened to Scotty on 15. Or you can be in the wrong side of the fairway and have that tree hanging over top of you. It's not claustrophobic, but it's tight. This is much more wide open. Akshay, I think, will benefit from the ability to spray it more left and right. He's long enough, spray it more left to right. The approach numbers have been very good since the US Open. Arguably, let's just do it. Last 36 rounds might be too many. How can I cherry pick this for him? Last 24 rounds, everybody in this field strokes gained approach. Let's see what happens. Scotty, I'm sure, is number 1. Let's see what happens next. All right. Scotty 1, Hideki 2, Kitayama 3, Akshay 4. Yeah, okay. My eyeballs back that up. And now you're getting a really good price, $8,200, because we are going to start to drop off like, this isn't getting particularly great. They're all good options, but not particularly great. So Akshay at 82, I'm just going to favorite him before I forget. So actually, I'll do this for you. It's probably Hideki, Akshay, a little bit of Fitzpatrick. I'm not completely sold on Fitzpatrick. The $7,000 range. I love the way Ricky Fowler is playing. Something I rarely say. As we were doing our little betting contest last week, which I won. By the way, I won the handicapping contest for Golf Bet. I get a all expense paid trip to TPC Sawgrass play TPC Sawgrass for me and somebody else. So thank you to Golf Bet for that. But I won it. Represent. Love to see it. Over the weekend, and I think it was definitely on Friday night, I looked at Ricky Fowler's profile, and he was the first name I wrote down. But because they had not yet finished round 2, and he was still one of the last guys to come back and finish on Saturday morning, there were like no options for him on Saturday out on sportsbooks yet before I had to put my picks in. Okay, so long story short, what I'm saying is I was trying to get as much exposure as I could to Ricky on Saturday, and it did not work out for me. This is still one of the best profiles you could ask for. He gained 3.7 off the tee last week, 4.7 on approach, and he lost in both short game categories, but did not lose enough to be worrisome. A stroke around the green and a stroke with the putter. That snaps a streak of 4 straight gaining with the putter, something he's been very good at. He is incredibly highly incentivized to go as deep as possible and grind you over 4 rounds like he did last week. He had to finish like 12th or better to advance. He's going to need another big finish for this week. But I'll go to the trends tool. I assume that when I go down to like the breakout candidates here, actually maybe not, because that was the only bad putting week that he's had. So yeah, so here's Ricky. So let's do this. Let's do last 24 rounds. See, the putter has not been bad enough for Ricky. Where's he? Okay, he's right here. So he's in the upper left quadrant. He's in the optimal quadrant that you'd want to be in for a breakout candidate. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 10 out of 50 golfers in that upper left-hand quadrant. Ricky Fowler is in that one, and it's because he hasn't even been putting bad enough. So I hate to say like, oh, this is a smash spot. Like, kind of feels like a smash spot for Ricky Fowler. So I really, really like the way he's playing. The stats love it as well. Notice who else was in that? Akshay Bhatia is in that quadrant. Russell Henley's in that quadrant. Siwoo Kim, if I can say that, is almost bulging out of the upper left of that quadrant, which is the good side. And it's, there becomes a point when he's lost. It becomes a point where there's no hope of him getting back to the putting baseline. Lost 5.5 strokes putting last week. Has now lost strokes putting in 9 straight with some pretty significant losses. Yes, he picked up 10 strokes ball striking, but this is almost, and when you look at this model, yes, Siwoo Kim is an outlier in the correct direction, but this outlier might not be able to realize its gains because he might just actually be lost with the putter. Okay, so that does worry me a little bit. These guys here, right in the heart of that, Lucas Glover, Johnny Vegas, Michael Kim, Xander Schauffele, Ricky Fowler, even Jacob Bridgman to an extent. That's like kind of right where you want to live. And Siwoo's bulging out of it. Remember when we've been talking about Kurt Kitayama and how well he's been playing since, basically the Byron Nelson, and how he could not stop, work's not done, right? Job's not done. Since the 3M Open, he has not. Really good Wyndham Championship profile and an even better FedEx St. Jude profile where he finished T9. And the ball striking, the tee to green play is back. He's picked up strokes with the putter in 3 in a row. This is by far the best golf Kurt Kitayama's played in a really long time. And I showed you, what did I show you last? The power rankings, strokes gained approach. He's in between Hideki Matsuyama and Akshay Bhatia in the last 24 rounds on approach. He can fill it up. He can get hot. Seems like he has a decent floor right now. Can play spoiler. He could play spoiler at the Tour Championship. He's won the API. He's won this year. He could legit play spoiler for the Tour Championship. Are there any markets out there for who's going to win the FedEx Cup right now? Right? Like, I don't want to have to wait till 30. Like, give me Kitayama. Give me Cam Young. Like, I want to try to find a spoiler right now. That's not Scotty, and I don't want to wait till next week when there's only 30 left. I would love it if that market exists. I don't know if it does. Interested to see how Daniel Berger bounces back. Absolutely cooked on Sunday. I caught up with them on 12. It was Goddard up in him, and it looked like they were walking in a funeral procession. Like, Goddard has already drubbed him by 5 shots. I think he beat him by 10. The last 3 rounds for Berger, he lost basically 15 strokes to the field. Finished second to last, I guess. I think he tied with Minwoo for dead last. Not too good. Not too good. We might pick on Daniel Berger this week. I'll show you Jacob Bridgman's profile because he is in that really good quadrant that you'd want to see, and I want to see what the rest of it looks like. Yeah, see, this is a little bit better, right? He's putting well enough to say, okay, there is a chance he putts well. I mean, he gained 2.5 strokes putting at the St. Jude in route to that T17. It's going to be difficult for him to really cash in his upside in this 50-man field, which now is as strong as it gets. But at $6,400, I don't mind that. I think that he's playing well enough to be one of those guys. And if you get a T, so in a 50-man, if you get a T12 out of Jacob Bridgman, you are just doing cartwheels in the streets. I'll show you Ryan Fox. I'll show you Johnny Vegas. Ryan Fox got off to a horrid start. And I know that because I had him in a top Oceania market, which was an absolute pillow fight. 4 guys from either Australia or New Zealand. It was won with a tie for 50th. Him and Ken Davis split that. But after losing 4.5 strokes, 5 strokes on, no, more than that, 5.1 strokes in the first 2 rounds, I love the way he battled back over the weekend. Sunday, I would say the double that he made a double on 11, I believe. It's not the end of the world, but that's like one bad swing on Sunday, and then he bogeys 18. Like, really easy chance this is 3 shots better right out of the gate. Not a huge deal, but I'm just saying, like, yes, T50 is bad, played much better on the weekend, and I actually think his score does not really reflect how many good shots he hit over the course of the weekend. And then Johnny Vegas, another one of these almost Siwoo Kim situations, but a little bit more exciting, where Johnny can putt to a 0 in a given day. He can gain a half stroke putting. He might be able to putt to a 0 for the week. He basically putted to a 0 last week, and he's going to pick you up 5 strokes from tee to green, right? So this is borderline worrisome. Here's that quadrant again, where you think, can Johnny Vegas ever realize this regression, ever realize this return to baseline with the putter, or is it completely gone? I feel a little bit better that Vegas has it in him, despite being a constant losing putter, that he could conceivably roll a couple of putts in. The model for this week, I think, is going to be pretty standard, right? Like, I'm not really doing anything with Caves Valley. I'll actually make the rounds like 24 rounds, just because everybody's been playing against each other for the most part all summer. We're going to go 25 strokes gained total for our baseline. I'm going to give driving distance 15. We're going to do strokes gained approach last 36 for 25. We're going to do birdie or better for 20. And we have 15 left. Let's just do easy courses for 15. My number 1 golfer, oh boy. No, I mean that for my number 2 golfer. Scotty Scheffler's number 1, obviously, by a mile. Kurt Kitayama is number 2. Yeah. Cameron Young is number 3. Patrick Cantlay is number 4. Hideki Matsuyama is number 5. Fitz 6. Ludwig. Rory 8. Akshay 9. $8,200. Ben Griffin is 10. I need to save this because I kind of love this. Hold on, let me save this model real quick. So this is 250811 Monday BMW. Okay. Yeah. These are the guys I love, love, love. Oh my God. What else? Ryan Fox is 16th. What an animal. $6,200. Vegas is 26th in a 50-man field at $6,100. Like, yeah, that's great. Oh, I love this. Cam Young's going to win, right? Cam Young's absolutely going to win, right? Or Kurt. God, I'm going to bet both these guys. All right, I'm going to go do that right now. All right. Wednesday live chat should be the same time. I've got a little bit of stuff to do on Wednesday, but going to be back in the Run Good HQ and ready to rock and roll. About to go hop on the jet. Just a plane. I'm not flying private, obviously. But looking forward to it. Talk to you guys soon. Good luck.